Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. It's time for another Premier League roundup show. No Josh this week. I think he's on holiday somewhere. Very, very nice. But I hope you are all well. Before we get into it, drop a like and subscribe to West Ham Unofficial. If you are new, check out our channel sponsors, SRM Carver & Son, by clicking the link in the description down below. But as always, I am joined by Shaun for the roundup show later on a Tuesday night, so we could see the action unfold at Old Trafford last night. Shaun, how are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Bit strange doing it later in the week, but we'll try and remember as best we can.
Yeah, exactly. And we will start with you boys then. I saw a bit of it in the pub. Spurs 1, Wolves 0. Not the best Spurs performance I've been hearing.
Well, it's a deadly early kickoff. It always throws up a few flat performances or strange results. Spurs have started all three of their games a little bit slow, I'd say. And I think it was the same again. I think Conte gave them a rollicking at half-time. I think it would be fair to say Wolves probably edged the first half, I was being honest. But they had 2 or 3 chances, but just didn't test the keeper. Lloris didn't. I could have gone in goal. Do you know what I mean? I think they put a couple wide, which had him rooted. But at the end of the day, unless you hit the target, you're not getting anything, are you?
No.
Second half was a different story. I think the story of all 3 games, really. We started a little bit slow. Second half, our fitness is told a little bit. We've sort of increased the levels after like the 50, 60-minute mark. And then we obviously, if you're a bigger club, you should have the firepower on the bench to improve it again. Perisic started. He should have started against Chelsea. He was probably the man of the match. Just adds that little bit of class when it comes to like a final ball across the corners. Clever little header for the assist for Kane's goal. But yeah, they deserve to win. Probably weren't the best team in the first half, but we're not playing brilliant, but still making it hard for the other team. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're not, I think a few managers say if you're not playing well, just make it hard not to lose, basically. And yeah, I think Richarlison he's come off the bench for about 20 minutes both games. He just gives a little bit of extra energy when maybe the other teams are failing a little bit. Son's not in the greatest form, but then again, I think I said last year he wasn't in the greatest of form towards the end of last season and ended up winning the Golden Boot. He's now he goes through these little spells where everything that gets played into him bounces off him a little bit, but that's how he goes. He has 2 or 3 games a bit like that, then he'll probably score 2 at the weekend. But it's not going too bad. They're not playing bad. They're not playing brilliant. Getting the job done.
And you're picking up points.
Yeah, but I think I said last week. We've had Southampton home, Chelsea away, Wolves home. Those corresponding fixtures last year, we lost all 3. So 7 points for 3 games. You lost everyone last season. You'd probably take that, wouldn't you, for a start?
Yeah, fair enough. Let's head into the chat. Bailey, thank you very much. I'll look at your message later on. But thank you very much for popping in. Budgie as well. Hope you well, mate. Pop in and drop a like. Do the same, people. Thank you very much, Budgie. I'm moving on, and I think this game will get the forgettable game of the week award. Leicester 1, Southampton 2. I'm not sure about you, Shaun, but just it is what it is, and Leicester continue to crumble. They give us some company at the bottom of the league alongside Wolves, I think it is actually, and Southampton turn it around, and Hasenhüttl holds on.
Yeah, well, I think I come back from work today on the radio. They said that Brendan Rodgers is the favourite to get sacked now. So it's strange, isn't it? I think it's a matter of time before Fofana goes to Chelsea for ridiculous money, by the sound of it. I think they're second from bottom, but they scored 5 goals. If Leicester have got 5, I think they've scored 5, conceded 8. I think that's something like that. Do you know what I mean? That's some outrageous start, really. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know how. Also, because even though they were champions not that 4 seasons ago, again they've gone back to being a bit of one of those forgettable sort of sides a little bit. Like I know the owner tragically died. I might be wrong. Is it his son that owns it now?
I think it's something like that.
It's still the family, isn't it? It's still the same family. But I don't know what ambition they've got now. Do you know what I mean? It's like it was obviously
with Fofana leaving, they've got Vardy who's going to be up soon as well. You know.
Yeah. Obviously, got Madison, people coming in for him.
Yeah.
People are bound to come in for Harvey Barnes. If that's what's going to happen, it's a strange. I don't know the details, but obviously it was forgetting his name now. But it was the dad of the family sort of wished to buy the club. He actually put quite a lot of money. They didn't win the Premier League on peanuts. That's a bit of a myth. They spent quite a lot over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, and then they kept going. You see him in the crowd, didn't you? Sometimes at the FA Cup final and all this,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's gone. You do wonder how much sort of ambition the other owners and the family now have, because it's not looking great what they're doing.
No, it's not, and fair play to Southampton, because I think they actually turned it around. I think they were 1-0 down. They turned it around to 2-1 in the end. It's going to be interesting to see where these two sides end up. I'd be incredibly surprised if both of those sides aren't between 10th and 14th. I think something like that. Southampton might drop down into 15th, but it is what it is. Two sides that are going to be mid-table, and following on to 2 sides that are probably going to be mid-table. Crystal Palace 3, Aston Villa 1. Villa's rocky start continues. The Palace pick up another 3 points. Good win for them.
Yeah, Villa at home. You said that one. You say Villa at home? I haven't heard.
We've got Villa away next Sunday.
Yeah. So this game was this game at Villa or Palace? This one the weekend.
Palace, I think.
I was gonna say if it was at Villa, I just wonder if the fans are starting to make a bit of a noise. Do you know what I mean? Like,
hopefully they do on Sunday. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to go on with Villa. I think Gerrard's sort of stamping his authority a bit, because they were close to buying that Sarr from Watford, weren't they? Over the weekend, was it?
Yeah.
And they agreed a fee, and Gerrard pulled the plug. Gerrard met the player, and he said no. So I know a few of your fans on your shows were calling for Sarr a little bit. Well, if he's gone and met Gerrard and Gerrard said no, thank you, then that probably tells you something.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I heard Gerrard on the radio. He sort of said, obviously, they spent a bomb with the centre half they brought in. He got injured. So now they're back to square one there again. So I think like a lot of these ex players that go to lesser clubs than they used to, he just wants money. We need players, spend. Because end of the day, I don't know if they've got that coaching ability to improve the player yet. They're still inexperienced coaches. So all he wants to do is just buy more. And I don't know. Palace are Palace, aren't they? They got the flair players. If they turn it on, any team's in trouble.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's head into the chat. Miss Hammer, I hope you are well. Sorry, missed a video, earlier video about the Emerson signing. What are we thinking? We'll talk about that when we talk about our lovely West Ham in about 20 minutes time. So stay tuned on that one. Curved by Cats, hope you are. What's up? No penalty yet. Hammers will turn it around. Well, flipping hope so. Hope so. But next up, we head over to Merseyside then. Frank Lampard's Everton draw with Nottingham Forest. Everton won, Nottingham Forest won. So point on the board for both sides, really.
It's 2 quite late goals on that, especially Everton's equaliser. I'm sure they're 1-0 down to over the 80-minute mark, something like that.
I'll just have a look for you. Matches, results, 1-1. 81st minute from Forest, and then 88th from Damari Gray.
Yeah,
so both goals.
That would have been Forest. I think they're gonna slowly nibble away with the points a little bit. They're still going to spend a lot of money. They're linked to one of Spurs defenders today, apparently. That Tanganga coming in for 20 million. I don't know. Too straight. I don't know what to make of either club, to be honest. With Forest, they've spent a lot, got a lot of bodies in, but they come up. People, it's not been said a lot. They got promoted with a lot of loan players and a lot of players on contracts about to run out. So when it come to the start of the season, being back in the Premier League, they didn't have many senior players registered.
No.
So this is almost a squad rebuild. I think they probably scattergunned it a little bit, but I don't know. And Everton, obviously, it looks like they're going to lose Anthony Gordon. But
is it to Chelsea? Because Chelsea need another winger, don't they?
Oh yeah, that's a strange buy. Chelsea. I don't know. Their buy is a bit scattergun as well. But I know a few Evertonians, and they don't rate Gordon as highly as what a lot of maybe outsiders may do. I think their only priorities, if they get sold for they're willing to let him go for 40 million. Some of the fans that I know, and now we're talking 50 plus add-ons. As long as Fat Frank gets the money, that's all that matters. Because I think I was chatting to him about Dele Alli, the same fans. They said, oh, he's been rubbish apart from 45 minutes. He said, yeah, he has. But can you afford to let another possible goal threat for half a game go? Because at the moment, you look at their goal threat. They've got Rondon, they've got McNeil, who doesn't score. They brought on the wing, and this Gordon has been playing through the middle up front, and he's asked to leave today apparently. So
I think at Everton, if they lose Gordon, he was one of the very few shining lights last year. 60 million, is it going to get reinvested in this llast 8 days of this transfer window? I'm not so sure.
But this late in the window, because if they have to give Frank every penny, so that's 50 million. I know they probably get a couple of loans because teams always do. They probably need to get in 3 or 4 before the deadline, which is I think next Thursday. So
Thursday the 1st.
And this late in the window, every player in the Premier League's overpriced. Yeah. So then you're going back into the foreign market with strong chances your fans will have to Google the signing. So, but it might be a case of just getting bodies. If you let Gordon go, hasn't scored, he ain't a goal scorer really. If you let him go and get in 2 or 3 that have done okay in a foreign league, you got one of them sticks.
Yeah, it's gonna be another tough old season for Everton, I think, and Forest. Well, as long as their players can gel together there, I think they will end up being okay. Let's take some of your comments, Lawrence. Hope you're well, Gary as well. 16 million is he's probably what he's worth to Everton, but it's the same with Declan Rice. He's worth so much to us, but other clubs think, well, that's ridiculous, and I think that's probably somewhere similar with Anthony Gordon. But Miss Hammerette says other half to Toffee, and he says let him go so long as they do the business and get an out and out striker. Was it just Rondon and that's it up front? Wow. Even at one stage last year we were linked with Rondon. That's when it got really bad. But Lucas, hope you're well, mate. Covered by Cat says, not sure why I feel this way, but the fact that Nottingham Forest have replaced their whole squad with new signings kind of wants them to make me lose.
Yeah, as I just said, that it did. If you have a look, their ins and outs, they haven't let many go. They haven't sold many. It's because there are a lot of loan players and they're free agency end of the season. So. Yeah. They've probably done what they've had to do, really. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they've been promoted on a squad of 15 and then thought, right, cheers for that, and ditched them. It hasn't really been like that. No. They've just had to build a Premier League squad really from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. Gary says, where's little Josh? I believe, as far as I'm aware, he's on holiday. So yeah. Oh, the McDonald's.
They ran out of the Spanish stack.
Oh dear.
Yeah, not happy.
Oh dear, Shaun is not happy. Looking forward to first. It says Lucas. Yeah, looking forward to hopefully scoring. Would be nice. And getting a win would be nice. Anything but would be a little bit embarrassing. Because we do a Spurs then, wouldn't we? But Eamon says Moyes lost the dressing room at the end of last season. Rather than say the players done well in Europe and the league, we go again next year. Instead, he slated them and said they were stale. Hold fire on West Ham. We'll get onto that very, very soon. I think we're 2 games away. Whoop-de-doo. Gary says Jacob looking older over these last 6 weeks. Is that true or not? Don't know. But anyway, let's move on. We've got 2 more games before we talk about us. And it's was it a West London derby? Nearly, I don't know. Nearly. Fulham 3, Brentford 2. Quite an entertaining game at Craven Cottage, Shaun.
Yeah, this is it's like I call this like their pretend rivalry. This one because they're just up the road from me. Because I always think of Fulham as that little Chelsea. Sort of friendly club. Well, not even, they're like a little friendly club. I think they've still got like what they call it, like a community stand, haven't they? Where you can just go.
They have. Anyone can go in there. Yeah.
So they haven't got. I've always seen them as everyone likes Fulham. They're just a little fan base, little old-fashioned stadium. But then from somewhere, the Brentford rivalry's just snuck in. I'm sure fans of both would tell me it's been going on for donkey's years, but it's not really one that I've been made aware of until the last couple of years. Well, I've praised Fulham before a ball was kicked this season, didn't I? So
yeah,
and they're going to have a go. I told you they're not going to they've gone down in the past with Mitrovic up front with a very, very defence outlook. Marcus Silva will not have that. He will just have a go. And this just proves it. But on Brentford, I think it was the first game of the season. They went 2-0 down at Leicester, dragged it back to 2-2.
Yeah.
They tried doing it the same here, and obviously it backfired with near enough a 90th minute winner. I think it was very, very late.
90th minute winner from Mitrovic to take all three.
Well, with Brentford, you can't keep doing that. You can't go 2-0 down. I think you're going to claw back because it's not easy.
2-0 down and then wake up.
Yeah, they tried doing it twice now. Done it at Leicester, got a point. Did it, Fulham, and got nothing. Do you know what I mean? You can't. If you're going to go back to Tottenham, if you start slow, don't concede and capitulate. Do you know what I mean? I know they've had the United win in the middle. They did great, but that'll probably be seen as a bit of a freak result and a little bit of a gift, probably almost. So I'm sure the manager agrees with exactly what I'm saying. He can't keep going on conceding two. No. Then you're up against it. Thing is, as well, if you go 2-0 down, next thing you know, you probably make attacking subs. So then your shape will probably go a little bit. And if you've got like 6 forwards on, you're going to concede again, and that's obviously what happened.
It's not a healthy tactic. I'm sure it's not a tactic, but it's not a healthy thing to be doing week in, week out in the league, like a Premier League. You know, when you're not the best team in the league, you know, City can probably afford to go down 2-0 every game, have a 2-goal head start against most sides, and they probably crawl it back to get at least a point. But a team like Brentford, obviously against Man United, they didn't, because Man United were awful. But they need to shore up that defence, that's for sure. Let's talk about the first training game of the week then, down on the south coast. This really was a training game. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 3. It should have been about 25, I think, from what I've seen of it. Tell you what, we have said it every week. Arsenal look good, sitting top of the league.
Yeah, good go. Well, Bournemouth barely did a thing, did they? It was Arsenal, a very intricate, pretty to watch going forward. Bournemouth are never going to have an answer to that. They just haven't got it anywhere on the field to compete with that sort of thing. It would probably be a game that probably Bournemouth looked at. Scott Parker at the start almost wrote the game off before a ball was kicked. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them. Didn't have Man City last week, Bournemouth as well. Was it the same scoreline? Was it 3-0 again?
4-0. 4-0. And then I think they've got Liverpool this week, even though they're not much good, are they?
So, but they won the first game, didn't they? They won at home versus I'm sure they did. I think they're on 3 points. But yeah, they'll look at them.
Villa. They beat Villa opening day.
Yeah, they're not going to be the sort of games that keeps them up. As for Arsenal, they're looking good going forward. I think they've still got a bit of a soft underbelly against a half-decent side. On paper, I think the stat was where every team finished last season, like obviously you rank them where they finished, Arsenal have had the easiest start out of every 20 teams. So on paper, they've had the easiest start. I think I said to you last week, I think it was the first 7 games that Arsenal have got on paper look very, very winnable. So don't be shocked if they, I don't know, amass 20 plus points first 7-8 games. I'm pretty sure.
And they'll be halfway to safety then.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've got Fulham at the weekend. So again, on paper, do you know what I mean? So on paper again, Bournemouth last weekend, Fulham this weekend, you would expect them to keep going. Wouldn't surprise me if Fulham scored. So we'll come back to that next weekend. Remember that. But yeah, Arsenal. The worry for the other clubs is obviously if you have an easy start, you've got to play. You've got to have a tough run as well. But it's just momentum. If you build confidence in the squad, do you know what I mean? If they've got what they are now, if they've got 20 plus points after 7-8 games, then they'll be confident, won't they? But yeah, this weekend won't be as easy as Bournemouth, I don't think. They'll probably still win it, but I think Fulham will give them a game. Yeah,
for sure. You know, just looking at Arsenal's fixtures going into October, in the 5 games they've got in October, they've got you boys on the 1st, Liverpool on the 9th, Leeds on the 16th, and Man City on the 20th. So, you know, it does start to come back, and then Chelsea a couple of weeks after. So obviously it does, because you've got to play every team twice, haven't you? So they're going to have
Europa League starts around then as well. Look,
it does. Yeah.
So if they can bang 20 points on the board before October, with easier fixtures, you know what I mean? They'll be over the moon.
Yeah. Corey says Shaun and Jake after will be found out soon when they face Man United next Sunday, and I think that soft underbelly is kind of a good way to put it, because they do sometimes crack against a decent side. They haven't come up against a proper decent side yet, so it'll be interesting to see how far this team has come. Right then, unleash the boys. Then here we go. West Ham United 0, Brighton 2. I'm going to come into all of your comments first before I have my say. Shaun's going to have his say, and then we're never going to talk about it ever again. Let's take some of these comments. Right, let's start. Eamon says fancy telling the whole team he doesn't fancy them and thinks they are stale to the public and still expects them to put a shift in for him. I might be wrong, but I don't see that as good management. Concerned about Rice's post-match comments. Go to my video I did yesterday about that. That was surprising for sure. Robert says Moyes has lost it completely. The comments he made about Downs and some of the other players just shows his lack of man management. Get rid as soon as he's done. If Moyes goes, who are we getting in? Well, there's been talk of your old geezer, Shaun. Maurizio, what's his name? Pochettino. That will never happen. We'll probably end up with Sean Dyche. Yeah, see, Sean's on his head now. Let's scroll down. Robert says the new manager will be chosen by the owners. That's their job. I think we get a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Man City's a write-off. Forest was unlucky. Yes, we were crap on Sunday, but hopefully we can start crawling it back. Yes, I'm concerned, as we all are, but I don't think we need to be, manager hunting as of yet. Declan Rice is not a captain in my eyes. There's certainly not as much leadership in that dressing room and in that team as there was last year. We've lost a big chunk of our backroom staff. We've lost Pearce. We've lost Irvine. We've lost Noble, Martin, Frederick. They're big characters in that dressing room. Let's scroll down. Where are we? Let's go here. 6 wins in 2022 is terrible, and now 2 losses without a goal. Do me a favor, it ain't getting better. Well, hopefully it does. 3 losses. Yeah, I understand that we've been rubbish this year. We really have been rubbish this year, but what a time to turn it around. Villa, they're in a rubbish run of form as well. Yeah, and Shaun doesn't like Villa either because he's turned the screen off. There we go. Oh, he's gone again. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Shaun, you there? No, and he's gone. There we go. Keep your comments coming in. I'll just have my little bit of a say about this. And yeah, it was really bad, wasn't it? Really, from pretty much minute 2 after that Ben Rama chance to minute 90, it was very poor. Just no intensity, no real want to run. It wasn't a David Moyes team, and it wasn't a David Moyes performance at all. There was no end product. There was no midfield. We were sloppy in defence. I mean, Zuma cost us 2 goals. He left Kehrer. He hung Kehrer out to dry for the first goal. I thought, which was poor decision making from him. But he shouldn't have been put in that position anyway. I do feel for him slightly, if I'm honest. First game in the Premier League, he did have a mare. And then Zuma's at fault, and probably Kehrer's positioning for the second goal as well. We were outplayed, and I just don't think we're ever going to beat Brighton in the Premier League. That's 10 years and counting now, and that we've not beaten him in the Premier League. And well, I don't think we ever have beaten him in the Premier League. Oh my God. But yeah, overall on a whole, it was just poor, really poor. Souček, why he's in this side, I don't know. I want to sit down with David Moyes and personally ask him why Thomas Souček is getting in to the starting 11 week in, week out, when you've got Coventry, Downs, and others sat on the bench. Fornals can slot into that. Pretty much anybody. I bet Shaun and Spurs could probably do better than what Souček's doing at the moment in that midfield, because he's running around, but he's leisurely having a jog around and not affecting the game at all. It's just, I don't see what he's offering. Bowen and these players like that, they haven't really started to click in the Premier League yet. Rice is having to do it all on his own, and I thought Rice was very poor on Sunday. Probably one of his worst games in a claret and blue shirt. And yeah, there's just not very many positives to take out of it. David Moyes has got to sit down this week, and he's got to give him a good rollicking, and he's got to make some bold decisions. He's got to drop his favourites. Get this favourites out of your head, David Moyes. drop Souček, drop these players, and let's see these new signings. Let's see Downs on Sunday. Let's see Skamaka. Let's see Cornet. Let's see you change it, because it needs changing. Otherwise, we're just going one way, and it is downhill. Shaun, just while I read some of these comments, do you want to have your say? I know you watched it.
Obviously, I watched you with your boys in Europe as well, and I didn't think you were great then either, really.
No.
I think you won the game because you've got Premier League quality players who can do that little bit of magic here and there, but I can't. Is it Vigord or something? I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah, they look like they had more energy than West Ham. They were a bit busier. Do you know what I mean? There were spells where they looked the ones putting the pressure on. But I don't know which way the direction to go with this. So you said about the dressing room, like who's left and who's there. I've been a firm believer with Moyes. He is quite old-fashioned. He is sort of one of a dying breed, one of the old guard, call him what you want. And all the people that he's got around in the coaching staff, like you said, Irvine, I think he had him at Everton, didn't he? And do you know what I mean? I just think Rob Newman, his mates, the head scout, whatever he is, I just feel like, I'm not saying he's stubborn, so he probably won't bring someone else in. It just feels like, I mean, from the outside, you need some fresh blood sort of in the dressing room and the coaching setup a little bit. Like,
yeah, maybe, but we need, but I think we need it on the pitch as well. Bring this fresh blood in. Rob Newman's done a good job this summer, because what he's done is he's scouted and brought in some good players, I think. And we haven't seen him fully yet.
You said that about on the pitch, but that comes from the training field. So ideas on the training field, if players find training techniques are just getting a bit boring, do you know what I mean? I don't know what Moyes is. I've heard on people say before about other managers in the past, where nearly every day they'll go out and do the same thing. Okay, and if it's repetitive, say every other day they do the same thing, players get fed up. That's what can cause a staleness in there. That will mean they don't fancy going to training. Do you know what I mean? It could be something a little bit like that. Just looking from the outside, I'm not knocking this, but it's a very sort of British feeling set up at West Ham. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying go and get a foreigner, because you've had foreign managers before and it hasn't worked out. But I just feel like there's not a lot of excitement when you look at the backroom staff. Do you know what I mean? If you look at the backroom staff,
we've lost 2 key members, and as far as we know, I don't think we've really replaced them.
But you said, another one you remember, Stuart Pearce. You had him, okay? Yeah. Everyone loves Pearce. He's brilliant on the commentary. Again, though, he's an old school.
That's what Moyes wants. That's what Moyes will get.
I know.
He's brought Warburton in. It's just the same, isn't it?
I know, but you're possibly watching that old style of coaching rub off on the players. I'm not giving the players a free ride. I'm just saying, if he's going to be stubborn, bring in his old experience British coaches just to help him. At some point, that just goes wrong. I'm not saying he sack the manager and get a foreigner in by a long shot. I'm just saying on the field, because you're all about work rate, hard work. You have been a little bit about corners, dead balls. I think I had a joke with you last year that you're a bit like Bolton in the 90s under Big Sam. All right, you are a little bit like he, and that's not a negative really, because he has.
But as well, our set pieces have gone down the pan because Souček can't head a ball. We haven't got Dawson in there, so we're not even looking half decent at set pieces anymore.
But last year when I said about compared you to Bolton in the 90s, Big Sam's team had some JJ Okocha, Yuri Georgi, were like flair players. A bit like last year, you had Bowen, he was flair. Ben Rama can be flair. So when it works, it can work. But the 1990s was 25 years ago now, and I've been saying this to you a long time about Moyes. I can't fault what he's done. I don't think he'd get the sacked. I think he's got enough in the bank at West Ham for another 5-6 games. It'd have to be a shocking next 6 games, I think, for him to go. But it's probably rubbing off on the players, just that little bit of staleness in the dressing room.
Yes,
I could be totally wrong with this as well. I don't know does Moyes get the final say on players coming in?
It seems that way because we've been linked with players that Sullivan likes and haven't came in, and he has made it very clear that the players that I've brought in have been on his watch. So he's made the signings here, and he's the one that's not playing these signings, which nobody can get their head around. Go on, have your final thoughts. We've got to move on.
just wonder if Skamaka, though. I look at him and I think, I don't know if I look at him and think, is that a Moyes type? Do you know, striker? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just
big tall guy's going to head the ball.
well, he's he looks like he's got a bit of a bad attitude on him already. So that's what I'm wondering about. But I don't know.
Don't you start talking to me about bad attitudes. Your whole flipping dressing room's full of bad attitudes, Shaun Lewis.
But but people are saying about who would you get in? Like if you lost say 4 of the next 6, then he might be in trouble. So then you might have to have this conversation a little bit more. But
well, we'll have it in a month, shall we?
Yeah, we'll come back to that one.
Yeah. Right, let's fire through these final comments then. Sharky, thank you very much for coming on. Like and subscribe to Jake Shaun. Thank you very much. It's a good comment from Gary. Gary says Noble was there to push them in training. I bet they're just lazy now using their phones. Noble was a massive part of that dressing room. Well, we've lost him now. We need to get him back in some capacity, I think. James, I hope you are well, mate. Covered by Cat says, need that new tall Italian guy in there for set pieces, but he needs to be in there from the start, not the 70th minute. Bang on, I agree. Gary says, would you listen to a kid as captain or a mature player? No. Yeah, a lot of question marks over Declan Rice's captaincy this week. He's come under a lot of scrutiny after his post-match interview. But Eamon says, when players say training is getting boring, maybe they mean the players they see coming in are same old, and there is nobody that comes in that excites them. It's a fair point. Overall, we need to see a reaction. You know, I don't think anybody is now too bothered about Thursday night as long as we get through. And we need to just concentrate about Villa Park. Villa, you know, they're on a bad run of form. We need to exploit them, and we need to get back to some sort of decent football. But let's move on with the weird Super Sunday that it was, and let's go to Ellen Road. Leeds 3, Chelsea 0, Shaun.
Yeah, it's Chelsea all over again. It's a bit like Chelsea last year. They're at Class 1 game, look poorer the next, but I think Leeds were pretty good on the day, to be honest, in all fairness to them. But from the first whistle, Leeds were flying into them, tackles hard. They weren't letting anyone have the ball in midfield. I thought Conor Gallagher looked out of his depth in a game like that versus Leeds. Just didn't look ready to be in that sort of midfield. Obviously, Koulibaly looks like the Titanic trying to turn and run. He's not in shape. He's been that. I think he's been in the Italian league 6-7 seasons, and now he's coming here. What's he, 30s? He is 30, I think. He turned. Both the bookings were pretty naive, where he was turned both times. Yeah, I think Leeds thoroughly deserved it. It was a great win. Chelsea are going to go back in and try to spend silly money on probably Aubameyang and Gordon and
Fofana, Gordon.
So that'll probably be another 200 million. I don't know how well that's been thought through, really, because we're now 8 days away from the window closing. So have they really given that much thought to that? I'd have to doubt that. Yeah, but Leeds are Leeds, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They've got these 2 Americans in midfielders, Aronson and forgotten the other one's name, and they're just typical of what Leeds do. They sort of charge. Their press is brilliant when it's controlled.
Yeah.
When the press isn't controlled, that's when they look a bit erratic, a bit like they're going to get red cards. But if Jesse Marsh can control the press and it works, then
he seems to have got the same attitude at Leeds, but scaled it back slightly and got them organised.
Yeah, they're not so gaping at the back. I don't think they just all fly in. The worst thing about Bielsa at Leeds was they could be losing 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and he'd still be open.
Yeah.
So rather than have a 10-minute rather than have a 10-minute breather, all right, say they conceded in the first minute, they'll still be exactly the same against Man City, for example. Did they lose like 7? Man City scored 7 against them or something daft like that. They'll just do the same tactics. If they're open, they're open. Every manager will probably say, right, let's have 10 minutes. Let's keep it quiet, keep it solid. We've got another hour to go in the game. But no, Marsh does look a bit more organised. If he can, I think they might want to get 1 or 2 more in. But yeah, Leeds will be safe. We said that for a while. Chelsea, I just don't know. I don't know. People keep saying who's going to get 3rd and 4th. Well, one day Chelsea are in people's 3rd place and they're in 5th. You just don't really know what to expect. Yeah. All I do know is Tuchel's lost the plot a bit because he was moaning about that his coaches couldn't get on the flight to the ground.
Oh,
So that was
God, he's
his
pulling a clop,
excuse.
he is. He's pulling a
Yeah,
clop.
he said we've had a bad few days. The players could fly up, but the coach and staff had to get the coach.
Oh dear. Right, let's go through these final comments. Where has our intensity gone? Is it fitness or morale? I don't know. I really don't know. We've got the questions, but nobody can seem to provide the answers at the moment. It will come, says Lawrence. I blimmin' hope so. Maybe they think the Warburton appointment was a step backwards. Maybe. Good to see Leeds beat Chelsea. It certainly was. Gary says we needed his first choice players. We missed out on them. The board didn't meet until late to talk about budget. It's useless. Yeah, exactly. We hit for one of the first times in this transfer window today. We actually heard that there was a transfer meeting yesterday. Well, we've got a week to start doing stuff. It looks like we've got this left back in now. We still need another centre midfielder, and David Moyes will not be done there, I don't think. But let's move on. Let's move up north proper, shall we? Up the Tyneside. Newcastle 3, Manchester City 3. Already one of the contenders for games of the season, Shaun. This was up and down. It was good game of football, wasn't it?
I'll be honest, I missed this one.
Oh.
I was unfortunately driving up to start of the M6 to pick the kids up, so I missed it. I was following it. I think I spotted it. It was 3-1 when I was having a Burger King at Hilton Services. Yeah, from what I can gather, Newcastle gave it a real good go, and over the past few seasons, the teams that have done that against Man City have actually done quite well. So, like Liverpool have always troubled Man City. Tottenham beat them twice last year by having a go. Do you know what I mean? So they can be got at. Obviously, they're still favourites by a long stretch for the league, but I don't know. When teams like Newcastle do this, then people need to take them a bit as the blueprint. Do you know what I mean? To actually put pressure on them and have a go at it. I know at the start of the season we were sort of talking about West Ham or Newcastle getting, was it the 7th spot? Well, there's only one team getting it at the moment. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, all right, Shaun, calm down. Migsy, help you out. Our last 2 seasons went off the rails when Oggy got injured. His replacement got injured pre-season. That's our main problem. GP, help you out. It's been typical of West Ham that that Moyes was sacked and they that they're going to sack Moyes and appoint Warburton. Warburton runs out to be another Avram Grant that takes West Ham down. Sadly, I can see this happening. League Cup is at the end of the week. I think I'd love to see us win any trophy. Yeah, I think it starts tonight actually.
It does.
The
second round's tonight.
Second round tonight. So is it the third round draw at the end of the week? Is it? That's fun.
I'd imagine so. It's only the European sides that aren't in the second round.
Yeah.
So I think you've got. I'm pretty sure the likes of Southampton are playing tonight.
Yeah,
I think it's Bournemouth, Norwich. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine they usually have the draw of this at a ridiculous sort of. Then you should do the draw in like a supermarket or something ridiculous, or on. they have done it. They've done it at like 11 o'clock in like a supermarket in Thailand before, I believe, something like that. So don't be surprised if the draw is very random.
You're being critiqued for your food choices, Shaun. How posh is Shaun? Burger King over McDonald's. Burger King is posh.
Well, Burger King's a bit more upmarket. I did have my first Five Guys a couple of weeks ago.
That's just overrated, overpriced.
Oh, it was the best part about Five Guys was a refillable strawberry Fanta, and I got that with a load of dry floppy chips and a little burger for 20 quid. I do not recommend at all.
There we go. That's Shaun's food review. Come back next week for more right here on West Ham Unofficial. See, there we go. Mixie says Burger King is rancid. McDonald's ain't much better
though. Depends what they got on the menu. To be honest, I don't mind a flame grilled burger at the airport if I'm going on holiday.
Oh, Shaun loves paying £10 for his fast food, honestly. Covered by Cats. Do you have Taco Bell over there? Yeah, we do in some places, but I mean around here there's barely anything. But yeah, there are some somewhere. Chuck says they will do it in space, the League Cup draw. Yeah. West Ham have got Millwall. Oh, okay, brilliant. But anyway, let's move on to Monday Night Football then. Hopefully some of you tuned into the watch along last night where you saw how shocked we were. But Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. I'm just going to let you fire away, Shaun.
Everyone was expecting like a 4 or 5-0 win for Liverpool, weren't they? And you got to praise United. They come out 100 mile an hour. They were smashing into Liverpool players. You got to just praise United, really. I think the 11 that what's his name put out? What's his name again? Their manager? I've forgotten it already.
Ten Hag.
Ten Hag, that's the one. All these double-barreled foreign names, need to lose track of them all. His starting line, it was a bit random again. Like, it was never put the names in the hat, put them out, sort of a job. But this one worked a little bit. Drop Ronaldo, drop Maguire. Well,
And
maybe that's something he needs. Well, maybe he does need to get Ronaldo out of the club. Maybe Maguire hasn't been good enough for probably a good year. So yeah, now he's picked he's got a formula which has sort of worked. Then he's just gonna have to run with it. As for Liverpool, yeah, they've started. They look like a better version of West Ham at the moment. I was gonna say they look a bit leggy, but they're not that leggy. Yeah, they're in the
relegation battle now. They've joined the club.
Oh, they were. But Van Dijk, I think Van Dijk's been very.
He was awful last night, wasn't he?
Well, last night he looks leggy. You've got to remember that he did that unusual tackle which brought down Mitrovic versus Fulham. Remember that? Like, you don't expect him to get turned inside the box and clash knees with someone. That was unusual for him. I think even before they kicked off last game, they showed Zaha's goal against Palace. Well, remember, the ball went over sort of through and he beat him for pace.
Yeah.
But in the past, that's sort of a goal where you see Van Dijk usually reading it and covering. So he's not in great form. Add that to the fact that him and one of us probably is always had to cover the fact that Trent's not a very good defender. But Gareth Southgate, people might critic him, but he hasn't fancied Trent for since he's been in the job.
And fair play to him because he's rubbish at defending.
If you just go on his defensive attributes alone, which definitely is the priority for international football, he's probably 6th or 7th on the list in England. If you want a proper right back, yeah, he can whip in a great ball. And all we hear every year is, he'll be a midfielder eventually. He'll be a midfielder eventually. Well, he's not yet. Do you know what I mean? He's been Liverpool's right back for 3-4 seasons now. So all this, he'll be a right back one day. Well, I'm not seeing any sign of that, and he can't defend. He is shocking again. But not just that. You've got a centre back who's brilliant, who's looking out of form. You use your right back who can't defend. Add that to the fact that you can't keep your midfielders fit. But you can't be even in an out of form mode, Man United. You can't be going there with, was it Harvey Elliott that played, the blonde lad?
To be fair, Harvey Elliott was probably one of the better ones. But you look at that Liverpool midfield; they challenged the title last year, and they had James Milner and Jordan Henderson as a two-man midfield. Yeah. They got bullied by Manchester United in midfield, and not many teams will get bullied by them this year in midfield.
It's not when I said it wasn't as Harvey. It's the balance is all off.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? You can't. In 2022, you can't have James Milner and Jordan Henderson partnering. You play one or the other for starters. You got to play one or the other, and then I think they've got 2 or 3 kids that I know they got the lad from Fulham that come on. I think they've got another young
like Carvalho.
Yeah, they're good. They're good,
didn't they?
But they got like Keita. He's in and out injured. I know Liverpool fans said he's never really rated him that highly. And then all we hear is, we've set up a deal to buy Jude Bellingham next summer. Well, next summer's too late. They clearly need a centre midfielder now. They've got talented forwards like Diaz and Nunez. They got talent, but Mane going is a big loss. He's been there 5-6 seasons. It's a big loss him going. So Mane goes. You haven't got a good fit midfielder. Your best player, which is probably Salah and Van Dijk. Van Dijk's out of form. Straight away, your spine's knackered, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Mane nearly matches Salah for goals the last couple of seasons. So them goals have gone. So straight away, Diaz has got to have a brilliant season to match him. I don't know. Obviously, they've got Thiago. He's never fit. No midfielder can't stay fit. He'll come in and have 5-6 brilliant games.
But they haven't got. But they haven't got a midfield there, because Fabinho came back on. But they have lost a couple of players. But that lineup and bench last night for Liverpool was like worse than some West Ham benches I've seen here
Yeah,
last year. It
it's
was
really
you know,
poor.
and Jamie Carragher after the game I thought summed it up perfectly by saying Liverpool weren't ready for a derby and they got beat easily. You know, they weren't ready for a derby, and that's what they got. Mane's a huge loss. Liverpool are in trouble.
Yeah, it could be overreacting, but I've sort of read a few comparisons to my team and the Pochettino era sort of dragged to a halt. Do you know what I mean? The spending in the right areas stagnated, things got stale, and all of a sudden everyone looks leggy, and that can happen. Like the mental side can kick in. They're not even like the other day when they drew a Palace at home. In the past, I know they were down to 10 men. They did start to batter Palace a bit. But in the past, how many times have we seen like Liverpool get a late winner? Or they're one down, late equaliser, a late winner. When that all of a sudden stops. So if you're used to like getting like 5-6 late winners a season, and then that dries up, that can mentally knock you a little bit because when it's happening, you almost half expect it to happen on the field because you've got so much trust.
But the interesting thing was that they scored that goal to make it 2-1 with 10 minutes to go. I think it was 15 minutes with injury time. That almost stopped them because they didn't, they got 2-1 and it's like they got flip flops out. There was no urgency, and it was like they got the score wrong. It looked like they were the ones defending a lead, and they were the ones needing a goal. There was no urgency. That goal stopped anything they had.
Yeah, I think what they lack at the moment, I don't know who they lack a player who can drag the other players along a little bit. Because Salah, as good as he is, quite often in games you don't even see him involved. He's one of them sort of players that Salah's done nothing, then he pop up and get two.
Yeah,
they're not the sort of players that run games. I don't know if you noticed after the first goal, obviously Milner got put on his backside, and then Van Dijk, I don't know what he was doing, letting him have a free shot. But Milner tore into Van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely tore into him. And Van Dijk sort of took it, but Milner, he's like probably the most experienced player they got, but you wouldn't ever say he's ever been a world-class centre midfielder, would you?
No.
So who are these sort of... If Van Dijk's having a mare, Salah's clearly a quiet sort of player. Trying to look around the team and see who the leaders are to when their backs are against the wall, who's dragging them up. Do you know what I mean? And they don't seem that last night especially, and all 3 games this season, they've lacked something in there. I don't even know if Jude Bellingham's the answer, to be honest, but they can't just do it with all these kids. I think well, they must have had like 6-7 under like 22 on the bench last night. I didn't recognise 2 or 3 of them.
But it was strange. Well, let's go into let's go into some of these comments. Lawrence, good old pie and mash, talking about the food. Sob McDonald's pie and mash. Covered by Cat says Man United will not keep that pace up. It's a one-hit wonder. It took them a year of to pull that out. Yeah, to be fair, you got a point. United had their cup final. Tell you what. It felt like the atmosphere that was there when we went up there, and Martial scored in the last minute to beat us 1-0. It was like they just won the cup or something. It's like they won the Premier League. Eamon says Liverpool haven't exactly been good form this season. They really haven't. 2 points in 3 games. They will be not happy at all.
I think a little stat for you, Jake. I'm sure I'm going to guess the year, but it's the first time that Liverpool and Everton haven't won a game in the first 3 matches since 1911.
Flipping hell, really?
So Merseyside is in the mud.
Merseyside's in the mud. Corey says Man United are a better team when Maguire ain't playing. He's got a point. GP says, could Liverpool's defeat mean Klopp may go for Rice, Henderson and Milner, because Henderson and Milner are OAPs? Hopefully not. Sean shaking his head. I'd be surprised. I don't
think Liverpool have got the money at the moment.
No,
that's
neither
my
do I.
opinion. I don't think they've got it.
No, I agree. Eamon says that Trent is just a more expensive version of Masuaku when it comes to defending. He was found out big time last night. He was just roasted every single time, whether it was Alanga, Rashford, whoever it was.
It's not just that when he gets skinned though, he switches off. Like
yeah, he does. Yeah.
It's not just when he runs at him. Like I think for the goal, he was pushed up, so they went down the left wing where he should have been marking. But even though he couldn't get back, he almost stood on the spot, just sort of watching it happen. I'm thinking he'd literally just falls to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I just don't even know how he's in the conversation for any sort of England's right back position. It just baffles me every single time. James says controversially, the Mackie D's double quarter pounder actually tastes of beef.
Yeah, good stuff.
Shaun's nodding his head. He knows. He knows.
Sweet curry dip with the nuggets.
Oh, I say what, Shaun's got this down to a T. He knows exactly what's going on. Sharky says, I don't think Liverpool have the cash to sign Declan Rice. Yeah, same as Shaun. Mane is a huge loss. It certainly is. James reckons that quarter pounder with cheese beats every other big chain burger, in my opinion. It's a big call from James. It's a big, big call. Migsy says the amount of football they've played since we came back from the Corona break is part of the reason, in my opinion. Corey says United got Casemiro and they're getting Anthony from Ajax, so they will be a better side this season. You will see. I'm not sure whether Casemiro will be. It's going to be a fix, but only time will tell. Just heading back to West Ham for a second. Question that isn't being asked. Now we ain't getting Onana. Who's going to be Rice's replacement? And do we really want Moyes choosing Rice's replacement when his choices struggle to make the bench? It's a good point. Questions have got to be answered. Covered by Cat says also regarding that game, Bruno is the biggest flopper I've seen, and really holding on to the ball and not giving it back. What a child! I tell you what, that really annoyed me, because he dived and he got a yellow card, and then he knew what he was doing. The ref should have just sent him off. And now this isn't just because I hate him; it's just because I think he's an idiot. He held on to the ball for a solid 30 seconds. Usually they just hold on to it for a bit and then give it back to him, but he was holding on to it, like protecting it with his life. Just God, he is an idiot. But hey ho. Gary says this could be a Leicester season. All the big boys dropping points. Get excited, Shaun. I'd be incredibly surprised if anything to the sort happens this year. What was the incident? Yeah, Bruno Fernandes just tried to waste a minute after Liverpool scored their first goal or only goal. He just kept holding the ball for a minute and just wouldn't give it back to Liverpool. Zero the hero. Doesn't matter which fast food burger tastes best. They're all hyper processed and have absolutely zero nutritional values. Have that, Shaun.
That's what I want. I've worked hard. My burger. I'll burn it off tomorrow. No, we got it's just me and the wife this week. So when we both work late, so it's just a quick fast fix before I can get on the YouTube, Jake, basically.
Oh wow, the commitment, the commitment. Eamon says food wise, I've just had 2 bacon sarnies, tomato sauce, not brown. I agree, every single day. Tomato sauce over brown sauce every day. Eamon, you're in a good book, mate. And yes, 2. Well, I like it. I respect it. I like to make a pig of myself. McDonald's bacon is crap. I quite like it's not great bacon, but I quite like the bun and the roll thing they put it in at McDonald's. I do like a bacon roll with ketchup at McDonald's. That is the go-to order. Red sauce all the way.
Hash brown's probably the best thing McDonald's do.
Yeah, they are nice and crispy.
When they're crispy, not like they've been sitting around for a week.
Yeah, exactly. Amos says brown on sausages, red on bacon. That's fair enough. Covered by Cat says, I like my fast food burgers the way I like my woman, cheap and regretful. To be fair, usually I read comments before I put them on the screen, but I just whacked it up and then I just read it. Who's Stormzy? Is he like Cliff Richards? Yeah, for sure.
Basically.
Big up Stormzy with Roy Keane and Neville. Yeah, did you see Roy Keane get a bit excited when all the Euros ladies came over for their interview before the game, Shaun?
Well, he was like a bit of a celeb last night, wasn't he, Roy Keane?
He was.
Obviously, Ronaldo coming over, giving him a hug, then the new boy, and then the girl. I mean, he's loving life with his new haircut and beard trim.
Yeah, exactly. With his blooming skinhead all gone. Look, it didn't do him any favours, did it? Let's be honest.
Hey, Jake,
anyway,
this time next week, mate, they're gearing up for another derby, aren't we? This time next week.
Oh yeah,
next Wednesday.
We flipping play you next week.
Yeah, next Wednesday it is, mate.
Oh God, brilliant. Yeah,
well, the thing is, my final thought, mate, is football can change fast. If you go to Villa and turn them over, then you'll be well up for Wednesday night.
Yeah, and London Stadium under the lights against Spurs, anything can happen. I tell you what, I'd regret it if we didn't watch along for that game, because if you battered us, then I'm just never going to hear the end of it. But if we beat you and me on a watch along, it's just you'll never hear the end of it. It'll be like the best ever.
Oh yeah. I'm going on holiday the day after, so it better not ruin it.
Oh, it will. Don't you worry. You're coming on, and you're gonna get it, even if you beat us. Because if it's 1-0, I'm gonna give it to you. If it's 2-0, you can have it. But anything else,
I'll have an early guess. It'll probably be similar to what it won't be. I don't think it'll be a pretty game. Put it that way. I think even you're stumbling along and losing. We're sort of stumbling along and winning and getting points. It won't be a classic for a long shot.
Yeah, and as well tonight, West Ham fans, if you want to get an early preview of our opponents for Sunday, Aston Villa are taking on Bolton tonight in the Carabao Cup. That is live on Sky Sports. If you want to watch that, get your research done, or you just want to watch some football and get away from the misses, that's what you've got to do tonight. It is Bolton versus Aston Villa. But let's finish this food debate before we go. James says, who'd put tomato sauce over HP? Yuck, it would taste like vinegar. No, it's tomato over HP every day and twice on a Sunday. But there we go. We've talked food, which is a nice change. You've made me hungry now. We've talked Spurs 1, Wolves 0, Leicester 1, Southampton 2. I'm not going to read the rest. I can't be bothered. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. See, that made Shaun laugh. That's all I wanted to do. Shaun, thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, mate. We'll chat next week.
I will see you next week. From me, come on you irons and whatever they're not do down the lane. And we'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Official. Cheers, guys. Catch you soon. Bye-bye.